It all comes down to this. 9 weeks of grueling beating and banging throughout various tracks have resulted in a tense battle between two drivers. 47-year-old Matt Hartley from Australia come into today's finale 2 points ahead, aided by his rival missing the feature race in Sparks, Nevada in Wild West. The Australian has a solitary victory this season at Atlanta, and he survived the chaos in turn 1 to do it. But on the flip side, the 21-year-old Magnus Okenhaug from Norway has 2 victories on the season in Daytona and at his home race in Hell. He started very well with those 3 consecutive podiums as he finished second to Hartley in Atlanta, but he had a short run of bad luck in the endurance rounds. He missed the final, as I mentioned, at Wild West, and he spun from the lead in Wild Horse. But if we know anything about Scandinavians, they never give up. It's a tall order to overcome Hartley given the intense competition this season, but we've seen crazier things happen in the Simracer Coin NASA RallyCross Challenge. It's round 10 of 2020A here on the Automotive Sports Network, conveniently also brought to you by Simracer Coin, the cryptocurrency made by Simracers for Simracers. More info at simracercoin.com. With 2 drivers vying for a championship, we see the winningest driver in the sport bowing out after 20 seasons. After 160 starts, 105 heat wins, 149 finals, 90 podiums, 40 wins, and 6 championships. Yeah, it's me. Tonight will be my final race here in Sonoma, but as everyone knows, this allows Dylan Livingood and myself to bring NASA RallyCross finally live to our viewers, instead of these weird third-person tape delays that I've been doing for the last 8 years. So incredibly excited about that for Season 21 in about a month or so. Let's jump right into the point standings as we go over everything before we get going here in Sonoma. You saw the format up there. The format's been the same all season long. I won't bore you with that. That is our gap for the championship today. Hartley 145, Okenhaug 143, and it's easy to do the calculations for the championship competitors. All Hartley has to do is finish ahead of Okenhaug. It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter how. If he finishes ahead of the 26, we have the 48 being the champion. Okenhaug has a little bit taller order. Of course you want to win your heat race. Knowing Hartley, he's probably going to win his heat race. So here's the thing. You got to win your heat race and hope Hartley has some issues. But we saw, for example, Mertz overhaul Kraus in 2017C on a last race dive for the championship. So realistically, anything can happen. Jake Robertson, in theory, is still mathematically eligible for the championship, but it requires him to win the race, win his heat race, and Hartley and Okenhaug spontaneously combust in the LCQ and not make the final. Philip Kraus, Ray Kingsbury round out the top 5. So those guys will be going for 3rd place in the Simracer Coin NASA RallyCross Challenge, as you do get a payout for the top 3 positions. Dipple, Harberts, Mertz, Kingsbury, and Aish round out the top 10. As we run through qualifying here in Sonoma, we're going to take a look fairly quickly at our qualifying order. Half a second nearly for Jake Robertson over Matt Hartley, Philip Kraus, Harberts, and Mertz. The top 5, Okenhaug, Dipple, Attard, Derbyshire, and Moftaw. That is our running order, or qualifying order rather, for our race today. Kingsbury, Wetz, Lambert, Kingsbury, Aish, McDonald, Denice, Seymour through 18th. As we finish up qualifying, we got about 20 seconds left. We'll go through the remaining qualifying order. Let's see if this works. Flynn Lazier, actually, tail end of the field in 19th. So if you're just joining us in the NASA RallyCross Challenge, welcome. Presented by Simracer Coin on the Automotive Sports Network, the Simracer Coin NASA RallyCross Challenge. And we will quickly go over the format before we get going. 4 heats, 6 lap each, 1 joker, the top 2 will transfer. 2 LCQs, 4 laps, 1 joker, winner transfers. That'll give us 10 cars, 10 laps, and 2 jokers here in Sonoma. And oh boy, Is this going to be a good show? As we begin gridding here in Sonoma, we get ready for what should be an absolutely fantastic race. Jake Robertson, Josh Mertz, Austin Derbyshire, Brandon Lambert, and Doug Denice for our first heat today in Sonoma. Jake Robertson historically likes to wait until the last
All right,
second.
y'all, 6 laps, joker once. Don't joker the first time around because the game will black flag you. Good luck, have fun.
We do have our radio featured in our finale to hear what these drivers have to say. Robertson on the grid now. 5 cars, 6 laps, 1 joker. What will happen here in Sonoma? We'll have to wait and see. Thank you for joining us for the next hour. Green flag. Off the line, it looks like Mertz is going to get a better run than Robertson. Backs out into turn number 1. Derbyshire on his outside, but Robertson will lead us out of the start into turn number 1. Remember, this track is a lot like Daytona. You cannot joker off of the start. You have to go around this first lap before you can joker. So Robertson, Mertz, Derbyshire, Lambert, and Denice. Already, the Ford Fiesta out to a considerable lead over the Subaru WRX, but we know how fast Jake Robertson is. And it's more of a what if the 22 wouldn't have had those issues in the endurance rounds, because 3 wins this season, 3 in a row. And whenever he shows up at these rallycross tracks, it is quite a scene. Mertz follows Robertson into the joker, so strategy's done. And I think the 2 realizes that he really doesn't have the pace to challenge him. He just wants to try and transfer into his final race. As remember last week in Phoenix, not very good luck for car number 2. As Derbyshire and Lambert battling for third. As happy Canada Day to our Canadians. As Derbyshire having that special paint scheme. Lambert running a Simracer coin paint scheme, so a couple of new schemes today in Sonoma. And then Doug Denice in the 40 all by himself. As Robertson, 2.5 seconds up on Mertz, and then a further 4 seconds from Mertz to Lambert. So certainly a Sunday cruise for the British driver, and we have to think, we know how he is in the World Championship, we know how he is. A little bit of a slowdown as I start talking about him. We know how fast he is. What will happen next season? Will he stick with Ford? Will he go to Volkswagen? Will he run a Subaru? Everyone's running Subaru, though. And will he be able to put up a championship fight for all the rounds? And what will happen with this championship fight? Because he can pull away.
Give the old man a heat win, yeah?
I'll think about it.
As radio communications from Mertz to Robertson. Give the old man a heat win, he says. And of course, Robertson, probably not, but he'll entertain the idea.
Then again, what Phil said.
As through the sweeper, you can see Robertson cuts the dirt there, and that's what makes it quicker.
I'll go backwards over the line, and if you can catch me, you can have it.
As we're going to come to 2 laps to go here in Sonoma. Robertson says he'll go backwards over the line, and if the 2 can catch him, he can have it. But 2.5 seconds, that's the gap. I don't think car number 2 will be able to get it. Lambert, Derbyshire, Denice, that running order has not changed. It's amazing to see the driving line of car number 22. Let's ride on board here in Sonoma. final corner. I don't
Good win, Jake.
think Mertz is going to get there.
End of Heat 1, 22 wins in transfer.
As Robertson
The
wins
quote-unquote old man finishes second in transfers.
heat number 1. Mertz transfers as Lambert, Derbyshire, and Denice.
Give him a kiss! Give him a kiss!
So apparently our results screen is broken here. But Robertson, Mertz, Lambert, Derbyshire, and Denice. We get ready for the second heat race. Green flag, Hartley and Oakenhaug on the front row. Seymour, Moftaw, and Ray Kingsbury. This is going to be the battle, and we're already battling through turn 1. Down to turn 2. Oakenhaug and Hartley come together around nearly as Hartley as they're already battling Oakenhaug over on his side. All 5 cars under a blanket as we take the green flag. Around is Moftaw, the front bumper of Kingsbury. This race is just beginning. Seymour has sandwiched himself between the 2 championship competitors. And oh boy, Hartley now needs to get by Seymour because right now he technically doesn't have any points, bonus points, and Magnus got a 1-point lead. Now Hartley gets by. So now it's a 1-point lead. Hartley jokers on his first opportunity. That's going to give him clear track ahead of his championship rival. So red plate holder Matt Hartley leads at the end of the first lap. So now give him a 3-point lead as Oakenhaug has 2 points. He has 3 points. He already has 2 points in the bag. So this is going to be crucial for Oakenhaug. 0.8 of a second. And that craziness that happened on the first lap of the race, it's just getting better. Up the hill. They run the runoff of the former NASCAR short chute onto the short chute now. And then they turn and take the drag strip here at the Sonoma Raceway over the jump to begin the third lap of the race. Oakenhaug getting close. He's got a 1/10.5 down from the gap. But that jump hurt him. He lost his speed. Kingsbury in the back of the shot there, jokered in car number 25. Let's take a look and see if this works. I don't think it will. No, it's still broken. The joker counter broken on the timing. We'll try and fix that for next season. Sorry about that, folks. With the live shows, it should be able to play nice, but given iRacing's wonky stuff with the replays, that's probably why it doesn't work. So both of these guys have jokered, I do believe. So now we'll have to see what will happen as we take crossed flags. Oakenhaug into the wall. So the 26 pushing so hard to try and take the fight to Hartley, and Hartley cruising out front. Seymour jokered, put him in front of Kingsbury, and Moftaw, after getting turned on the start, in 5th. Look from high above here at the Sonoma Raceway. Hartley, Oakenhaug, Seymour, Kingsbury, and Moftaw. You can see the groove being etched in on the dirt. And remember, I've told you this before. What makes this interesting is because as Oakenhaug jokers, I was wrong. Oakenhaug jokers, I'll finish my point in a second. Side by side, crossing the start-finish line to begin 2 laps to go. Oakenhaug now holds the lead over Kingsbury. They both clip the curb going up the hill. Side by side, the championship competitors over the crest here. Now we're going to go back down, take the left to take the right, over the other crest onto the asphalt. Oakenhaug leads us as we're going to take the white flag here in Sonoma. Hartley sneaks to the inside of his championship rival, nearly gives him a bump. They're going to bump again, and Hartley still still side by side. No! He crossed up Ogenhaug. He crossed him up into the wall, and Ogenhaug bumps him again. Over the jump, Ogenhaug hits the brakes there. Good move for him as we battle for the heat race victory. 1 lap to go in Sonoma. So now, as I mentioned, this dirt is placed over asphalt. So you'll see throughout the event that they're going to wear down to the asphalt like I've said in past races. And this is what gets interesting because these cars get grippier and grippier and you can't slide them as much. So it takes more precision. Ogenhaug has given it his all, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He had the Joker rotation perfectly, but it hurt him when he came up the hill as Matt Hartley into the final corner. Hartley got sent on by Ogenhaug. It doesn't work, and the Australian has a 3-point lead in the championship. He wins Heat 2. Ogenhaug transfers Ray Kingsbury, Moftah, and Seymour to the LCQ.
That was all clean. That was all good. Good racing, boys.
This confirmation of our results here in Sonoma. Hartley, Ogenhaug, Kingsbury, Moftah, and Seymour. As we begin grading for heat number 3. John Dipple in the middle there in the 34. Matt Kingsbury, Flynn Lazier. We await, I believe this heat race is Philip Kraus and one of the motorless cars. I think it's Daniel Aish, but there's an issue on the motorless car. So they're trying frantically to get this car back out onto the grid, but I don't know if he'll be able to make the 60-second timer. As Philip Kraus on the grid, we won't have that 5th car in heat number 3. We had some issues getting Daniel Aish onto the grid. 4 cars, 6 laps in Sonoma. Heat 3 is green. Kraus gets a great run down to turn number 1. Kingsbury tries to challenge on the outside. The Ford pushes hard, but he does not get the run through the corner. Dipple and Kingsbury now side by side. Lazier tries the inside on car number 21. Can't make it happen. Kraus will lead as we begin heat number 3. Into turn number 1 for the first time. Dipple in second, Kraus in the lead, Kingsbury and Lazier. Lazier having issues all day long in car number 3. And Philip Kraus in his last race in car number 1. Rumored to go back to car number 19. If he races next season, he has his Dipple through the advertising banner there around the tire barrier. I don't think that's going to be a penalty. Hits the wall again. And that put Kingsbury in the transfer. Kingsbury Jokers on the first opportunity here in Sonoma. He's going to come out, it looks like, side by side with car number 1. Puts him out ahead. But the rumor is that Philip Kraus might not even race in the NASA RallyCross Challenge next season. We'll have to see side by side with him and Kingsbury. And the Subaru has that power up the hill. It takes the lead back. So we might not even see the Subaru MRT squad next season, as there's rumors flying about Austin Derbyshire. As the teams are being expanded to 4 cars next season, there's a rumor of him going to MRT or to LRL. What will happen with the Last Lap Motorsports squad is if hopefully you can put 2 and 2 together, but the Spark VR cars are all Last Lap Motorsports cars. Of course, they have to put them on different squads, and that's why Philip Kraus, if you can't notice, has a Last Lap logo on his car. As Flynn Lazier and Philip Kraus have been loaned to MRT this season. So basically, Last Lap's got plenty of drivers. So we might see Philip Kraus run for MRT still, defect to Last Lap, or just be in off-track race control. As we know, he's been wanting to do that for quite some time. He has not jokered in car number 1. That does not matter because he is out and away from Kingsbury, who already has. Cross flags for the defending champion 4 times, the driver's champion in the Simracer Coin NASA RallyCross Challenge. And last week in Phoenix, got that 24th victory of his career, and he's still second all-time, cemented in second behind his teammate Mertz. As Kingsbury 2.5 seconds back, Dipple a further 2 back, and Lazier a further 3.5 back from Dipple. As we get closer and closer to wrapping this heat race up, and Philip Kraus, we look at the last lap, 41.268. Let's take a look at his current lap, 40.875. 24 wins for the Canadian. Next on the list is Chris Wetz at 19, Cody Erdman 18, and of course Dylan Livingood with 13. But we know that Wetz and Erdman both are off pace in the Gen 4 regulations on iRacing. Cody Erdman we haven't seen since Norway, and no one really has figured out, because he ran with Year 1 Racing, his team on the rest of the service, and had some bad luck and then vanished, and no one really knew. And Chris Wetz has been off and on for Revolution Racing in car number 71. Kraus jokers in car number 1, so makes me a liar, because I think I said he jokered a little bit earlier. White flag in heat 3. 5 seconds, Dipple jokers. And remember, Dipple drove through an advertising banner and put himself in the transfer spot. What a run by the British driver. As the LRL Subarus have really come out swinging in 2020A on their debut. Of course, Motorless Motorsport on debut as well. MRT, believe it or not, I think right now is battling with Last Lap for 3rd in the Constructors' Championship after how crazy their seasons both have been. Philip Kraus going to help his team potentially cement that podium place in the Constructors' Championship. He wins Heat 3 and his final heat driving car number 1, at least this season. Dipple, after doing some decorating, or alterating the decorations, transfers in the 34 ahead of Kingsbury and Lazier. So confirmation of those Heat 3 results here in Sonoma. So we begin the grid for Heat number 4. Jacob Harberts, Cohen Attard, Chris Wetz. So it was Daniel H. that we lost in Heat number 3. And then our final car is Daniel McDonald. So the Scotsman on the back row, all by himself. We get ready for Heat 4 here in Sonoma. What a launch by Attard, leaves Harberts and Wetz in the dust. Wetz into turn number 1, two-wheeling in the 71 and clips the 80 of Harberts. Around they both go. Wetz is going to let Harberts through. Good move for him, and McDonald gets gifted 2nd place. We know how fast Harberts is, as he won in the endurance round in Wild Horse. We know how fast he is on the rallycross tracks in general. Can he take the fight to McDonald and potentially transfer? It's going to be a tall order, because it's already a 1.5-second difference from McDonald to Harberts. As I think Wetz just loaded up the left side tires. The Ford does that often when it grips up. The term in the sim racing community is grip flip. Now what happens, you load up the left side tires, hit that grip, and then he just tried to save it, and it kicked him over. 0.7 of a second from McDonald to Harberts. Nobody jokers on the first opportunity. Cohen Attard loves this. Nearly 3 seconds out and away from the rest of the field. We don't really have to focus on him. We know he's the one that survived turn 1 from that lightning getaway in the 131. McDonald has 0.8 of a second ahead of Harberts. Wetz in 4th after his automotive acrobatics attempt. Still 0.7 for McDonald to Harberts. We take a look at timing. Still no one is jokering. This is interesting. I think Harberts, and again, I say this every week, Harberts is playing these mind games with McDonald. You don't want a joker until the very last lap if you're following someone. You want them to play their hand before you. McDonald clips the curb. Remember, I told you, the track grips up because of the asphalt, and the Subaru handles very poorly throughout that section, especially when you cross-rut. The equivalent to cross-rutting in Supercross, when you put one tire on the dirt and one tire on the basically asphalt, it grips up at a weird angle. Harbert's to the inside of McDonald. I think McDonald had a slowdown. Very classy move from the Scotsman. Harbert's is going to joker. Attard also jokers as we begin cross flags. So McDonald and Wetz now are the only two that have not jokered, and McDonald, the gap's within about 2.5 seconds, but he does it again. He clips it on the curve. I think that's going to be another slowdown. It is for the 95. So anything can happen, but I hate to say it, I think this race is basically done for the transfer spots. Let's take a look from high above here in Sonoma. Take the white flag here in heat number 4. Cohen Attard 2.3 seconds ahead of Jacob Harberts. I think McDonald's going to wait until the white flag to joker, but 3 seconds is definitely over the amount of time that he needs to try and take that fight. That slowdown definitely hurt car number 95. As Cohen Attard out front survived the start. What a lightning start. I know I said that obviously on the start. I said it a couple laps ago, but that's probably the best start that I've seen in quite some time on the iRacing service in the rally cars, at least in the NASA RallyCross ranks. Final corner, Cohen Attard will join his team owner as a heat winner in Sonoma. And Harberts, after spinning, or getting spun rather, transfers ahead of McDonald and Wetz. C-Main time. LCQ1, C-Main, Consolation. Again, whatever term you want to use. Getting ready to grid here in Sonoma. As I think Austin Derbyshire is supposed to be in this race. I'm hearing that storms in the area of Canada that he's in is causing his internet to drop out. So we will only have 4 cars in this LCQ. Lambert, Kingsbury, Lazier, and Denice. 4 laps, green flag. Lambert, good run off the start. Kingsbury's going to follow right behind his teammate into turn number 1, and Lazier in front of Denice. Much cleaner start than the previous heat race, as Lambert leads us over the jump to begin the C-Main. As Lazier, connection issues as well in the 3, but he's back on track into turn number 1. Very quiet into the corner. Lambert ahead of Kingsbury side by side, nearly making contact. 46 and the 21 over the crest. Down the hill and then up the following crest. This carousel area, one of the most special places on a racetrack. And that's why Sonoma is one of the best to run in any car. Let's see who will joker on the first opportunity. Lambert does. Kingsbury nearly hits his teammate. So we put the Spark VR LNT car in the lead still, 2.2 seconds. Now he's got to push and make sure he can hold this delta over his teammate. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard for him to maintain it. Kingsbury, I think, is faster. Lazier on the curve there in car number 3. You noticed from the helmet cam there for just a moment. And it's unknown what Flynn Lazier's plans are for 2020B. And remember, like I mentioned, on loan from Last Lap Motorsports, and he only made a couple races this season as he had other commitments, of course, with his real-world driving duties. Cross flags for Lambert in car number 46, the inaugural champion of the NASA RallyCross Challenge back in 2012A, Season 1, and he's still here in Season 20. I think he will continue into Season 21, 2020B on the Last Lap Motorsports squad in the Ford Fiesta. He had a terrible run in the Volkswagen Beetle. What's interesting, though, is the Beetle is the fastest car in the World Championship, but don't ask me why the car counts are messed up. The car differentiate, the parity, there's the word. Kingsbury 2.3 back from his teammate. He's got to take the Joker, obviously, on these last couple of laps. Will he? Yeah, there he goes in car number 21. We're going to take a look from high above. They're going to be side by side, coming to the white flag in Sonoma. To the inside goes Kingsbury on Lambert, and he takes the spot. Will Lambert be able to take the spot? No, he did not have a good run into turn number 1, and dare I say it, that might have sealed it. .692 last lap for Matt Kingsbury, and he's already got a second and a half over Lambert. And I think we're going to see our 9th seed be our winner from Wild West. Final corner, and Matt Kingsbury didn't have a good run in 2019A here, but he'll transfer from the C-Main in 2020A as Lambert will come home in 11th. 13th will be Flynn Lazier. 15th will be Doug Denice. And 17th, Austin Derbyshire. As we had confirmation of those results there for just a moment, now we go for our 10th seed. And our final seed for the final race of 2020A. Ray Kingsbury, Daniel McDonald, Marwan Moftah, Chris Wetz. I think we're going to have a couple more cars as there was an odd amount. So Travis Seymour, we had 19 cars. Derbyshire was supposed to make that 5th seed in that race, so it looks a little odd, 4 versus 6, but the B main getting ready to go here in Sonoma. By the way, Daniel Aish managed to make it on track. Green flag off the line. Aish got a lightning start in the 33, but he's got nowhere to go. Into turn 1, McDonald into Moftah pushes him out wide. Kingsbury tries to take the lead, and he does in the 25. Side by side, Moftah with Aish. Aish is up to 3rd after 2 corners. Over the jump, McDonald the 2nd, Moftah 4th, 5th is Wetz, 6th is Seymour. Kingsbury leads us. McDonald tries the slide jab again, hits the curb, nearly tosses the car over. Can Daniel Aish make a move on the outside? Wetz nearly puts his car into the 33. And what a race already. As Daniel McDonald struggling in the 95, this is all Kingsbury wants to see. He's got 1.2 seconds already, and it's growing. Seymour into the tires in the back of the shot. As McDonald got another slowdown, he's going to let the field by. Another good move for the Scotsman. It's just not his day here in Sonoma. Jokering his Aish in the 33. You got to make something happen if you want to make this final. He's going to come out side by side. And no, he takes the lead over Kingsbury, but there's going to be no delta. It's 0.2 of a second. He's got to push and push hard if he wants to try and retain this lead. Words are very hard when you speak this fast. And Kingsbury the inside. I think the Ford's going to take it down the hill. So the Connecticut native trying to join his brother once again to make the final. The Kingsburys have been awesome in the C main and the B main. I don't know to take that as an insult or a compliment, but we'll just compliment them with that. It's still very tricky to get through 4 laps and try and win a race on a track like this. Kingsbury chokers then 25. Moftah does not in the 191, but I think unfortunately he is out of the conversation to transfer. Cross flags, 2 to go for Ray Kingsbury. Second, 1.6 ahead of Aish. As Aish trying to run the cushion, I think the Subarus handle better on a dirty track. But that line is not the greatest. Moftah in 3rd. Wetz in 4th. 5th is Seymour. And 6th is Daniel McDonald. We're coming to the white flag. 1.5 seconds from Aish to Kingsbury. It's a huge gap to make up. I think everyone has finished their jokers, but we'll have to see white flag in the B main. As Aish, really hard in turn 1. He gained a second on Kingsbury, pushing so hard to try and join his teammates after not being able to race in his heat race. Up the hill, the gap is shrinking, 0.3 of a second. They're both off the track in the 25 and the 33. Penultimate corner, and I think Aish got a slowdown. That's gonna seal it. Final corner, and Ray Kingsbury will join his brother in the final through the consolation races in Sonoma. He seeds 10th, 12th for Daniel Aish, 14th for Wetz, 16th for Moftaw. He gets the final point. 18th for McDonald, and 19th for Seymour. And the final is coming up.
Good to you on.
It's been fun racing, you guys. Now I get to talk about you full time after this.
10 cars, 10 laps, getting ready to
Okay.
go. Here in Sonoma, pole position, Jake Robertson. Middle of the front row is our points leader, Matt Hartley, Philip Kraus. Then it's Cohen Attard, Josh Mertz. Looks like Magnus Okenhag behind the banner there. John Dipple, Jacob Harberts, Matt Kingsbury, Ray Kingsbury. Thank you so much for everyone, for joining us, for watching, for sharing, for anything like that. If you raced, if you only watched, doesn't matter. I don't care. This season has been the most competitive 10-car finals every single week, and hopefully we can continue the momentum as we get ready for round 10 in Sonoma. Green flag off the line. Hartley gets a good start over Robertson, but it's going to be a battle into turn number 1. Hartley cannot maintain the gap over the 22 side-by-side. Harberts with Dipple, it looked like, into turn number 2. Robertson, Hartley, Kraus, Aish, Mertz, the top 5 as we begin the final. Four Fords and 6 Subarus to end this race. Kraus runs it wide, so does his teammate Aish in the 33, pushing it out wide. Or sorry, Attard there in the 131. Kraus gets by him for 3rd. Attard battling with Okenhaug. This is not a good run for Okenhaug. Off the road is Attard. And Okenhaug clips the 131. So Attard's out of it. Hartley jokered there in the 48. And at the end of the first lap, Hartley leads by 2.6 seconds over Kraus as they both jokered, as Robertson has not. Okenhaug needs to get further up the road. This is not what he needs to see. Remember in the opener, he needs to finish ahead of Hartley, especially with a 3-point gap. If he can, for example, win this race and Hartley finish 2nd, he will get the tiebreaker because he has 3 wins over 1. Hartley loves this, 2.1 ahead of Philip Kraus. Robertson's not going to joker. He knows he's faster. Okenhaug jokers, so does Mertz, and they both run off the road. They forget that the grass there is not track limits, or is track limits rather, and Robertson battling with Kraus. Up the hill once again, Kraus battling. Robertson gets turned! And car number 1, once again, over.
I did not mean that.
And we have a stack up the hill, and Philip Kraus once again with bad luck in 2020A. I'm beginning to think if he wins the championship again, just stick with 19. Don't try and defend it with car number 1. Okenhaug's in a joker in the 26 again, pushing it wide into the banners. 2.7 seconds for Hartley ahead of now Okenhaug, as Okenhaug battling with Robertson. Mertz in the 4th position. Remember, in his final race as a driver, at least a full-time driver, in the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge. 40 wins, all those podiums, all the stats that I went over. I don't think it's going to be his day to even stand on the podium, but we'll have to see as we're beginning the 5th lap of the race. As Kraus in 10th, Attard in 9th. Remember, those two both had some issues. Ray Kingsbury, Matt Kingsbury battling with Dipple, Harberts, Mertz, Okenhaug, Hartley, and Robertson Jokers, and put him past the 48. I don't think Hartley necessarily cares about the race win. He cares about that 26 in the rearview mirrors. He can let Robertson go. Robertson can win his 4th race, but like I mentioned again earlier, with the 22 not running the endurance rounds, it's really sealed his championship fate. And will we see a 3-horse race for the Drivers' Championship in 2020B between these 3 drivers? We'll have to see. Season starts in about 5 weeks live on the Automotive Sports Network. Very excited for that one. Merch Jokers put the champion, former champion, in 4th as we begin cross flags. We'll take a look from high above the Sonoma Raceway here in California. Jake Robertson ahead of Matt Hartley, ahead of Magnus Okenhaug, Josh Mertz, Jacob Harberts, John Dipple, Matt Kingsbury, Ray Kingsbury, Cohen Attard, and Philip Kraus. That is our running order, and a very huge gap. The field very spread out here in Sonoma. As we're starting to wear into the asphalt, Hartley will joker in the 48. He comes out behind Robertson, very close to the 22 though, as we begin 4 to go. Dare I say it, Hartley might actually have pace against the 22, but we'll have to see. Last lap was a 39.2. Of course, it was a joker for Hartley, 37.6. We'll have to see what he runs this next lap. The gap has already increased though, 1.2 seconds, as Robertson gets through the dirt so well in the Ford. We come to 3 laps to go here in Sonoma. And the championship hopes for Magnus Okenhaug are literally right in front of him. But your hands are tied at this point in time when you can't make anything happen. Mertz has a 3.2 second delta ahead of now Dipple, but I think Dipple still has a joker left. So we'll have to see, along with Harberts, we'll have to see what happens with car number 2 in these late stages. As Hartley's trying so hard to keep up with Robertson, but I don't think that it's going to work. I don't think it's going to happen for the Australian. As this kid from the United Kingdom, so fast. We've mentioned all season long, he had bad luck in the first 2 races, jokered at the wrong time when the joker was still disallowed on the first lap of the race. And as a result, after Iowa, or before Iowa, that was changed because of all the turn 1 accidents that we had. So we got that luck straightened out after being taken out in Atlanta, taken out in the first race in Norway, got it done in the second race in Norway, 3 on the trot, had that endurance round mishap, didn't show up for Wild Horse, had some bad luck last week. But if he can continue this stretch into 2020B, championship favorite is car number 22. White flag for Robertson. And the 47-year-old Matt Hartley ahead of the 21-year-old Magnus Okenhaug. That's our championship battle. As Harberts exits the joker, battling with Mertz in his final race, and Harberts into 4th. And I think Dipple's going to have a joker left as well. Mertz has been falling down the order once the track grips up. It's not necessarily the season that he wanted, because it's going to be a 3rd place points finish. He gets the Simracer coin prize and 4 victories on the season, including 3 in a row. Jake Robertson dominates and wins in Sonoma. And Matt Hartley will be your 2020A Simracer coin NASA
That's my fault,
Rallycross
I'm so sorry.
Challenge champion. Okenhaug on the podium, but comes home in 2nd.
Boo.
Harberts,
Boo,
Dipple
Jake.
pips Mertz, Kingsbury,
Good job, Matt.
I mean, it was my fault.
Attard.
Unofficially, Matt Hartley, you are the 2020A NASA Rallycross Challenge champion. Thank you very much, NASA Rallycross
Thank you very much, Muddles Motorsport. Thanks to my teammates. Thanks for all the competitors. Yes, get the fuck in there! Woo! Yes! Woo! Fuck yeah!
Let's go, Hartley.
Yes! Woo! It was hectic, guys. That was an awesome series. Thank you very much.
Congrats, Matt.
As the grid congratulating our champion here in 2020A. Jake Robertson, like we mentioned, winner here in Sonoma. Our champion, Matt Hartley, ahead of Magnus Okenhaug, who finishes on the podium. But what could have been for the Norwegian if he did not have that bad race in Wild West? Harbert, Dipple, Mertz, Kingsbury, Attard, or Kraus, then Attard for the top 10. C-Main, this is 11th down the order, every odd spot, like we've mentioned. Lambert, Lazier, Denice, and Derbyshire. And the B-Main is 12th down the order. So Aish, Wetz, Moftaw, McDonald, and Seymour. Point standings ending the 2020A NASA Rallycross Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge. Matt Hartley, 5 points over Magnus Okenhaug. Jake Robertson in third, 15 points back. Philip Kraus, Ray Kingsbury, John Dipple, Harbert. Mertz finishes 8th in his final season. Kingsbury and Daniel Aish. We don't have any graphics for these, but we're going to go over verbally at least the quickly Constructors Championship, the LRL Racing Team with Magnus Okenhaug, John Dipple, and late addition Daniel McDonald, 280 points over the Motorless Motorsport squad of Aish, Hartley, and Attard. They have 259. MRT, Kraus, Mertz, Lazier, they have 241. They finished in third. Spark VR, Last Lap Motorsports, Micus, Kingsbury, and Kingsbury, 214. And Robertson all by himself for Apex Racing Team finishes 5th with 150 points. Subaru, 1 point over Ford in the Manufacturers Championship. The United Kingdom wins over 13 points over Norway and Australia. And that's about it. Thank you so much for everyone this season for joining us, for racing, for doing whatever involved with the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge. We'll see you in about a month for the 21st season of the NASA Rallycross Challenge. But from all of us here at NASA Sim Racing, the Automotive Sports Network, Simracer Coin, congratulations to Matt Hartley for the championship victory. We'll see you soon. Until then, so long, everyone.